Tropical storm Laura formed in the Eastern Caribbean on August 21st. However, it seems that both Tropical Storm Laura and Marco could pose a double threat to the U.S. Gulf Coast. Storm Laura formed on Friday in the Eastern Caribbean, and it has been forecasted that it could pose a potential hurricane threat to Florida and the U.S. Gulf Coast. A second storm also may hit the U.S. after running into Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The new tropical storm was centered about 230 miles east-southeast of the northern Leeward Islands on August 21st. This tropical storm had maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour. It was heading west at 21 miles per hour, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center. Forecasters have earlier described it as a disorganized storm with a very uncertain future. The Hurricane Center has mentioned that it might degenerate or dissipate, or it might blow up into a major hurricane that may hit Florida by Monday or Tuesday and then move to the Gulf Coast. The current forecast track, also highly uncertain, would carry this tropical storm just north of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba, then take it across the Bahamas as it travels to the United States. Tropical Depression 14 was nearing the coast of Honduras on August 21st, and the National Hurricane Center has mentioned that it was expected to go northwest and then cut across the tip of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula on Sunday morning, possibly at or near hurricane force. A hurricane watch was in effect for the strip of the coast containing Tulum, Playa del Carmen, and Cancun, as well as Cozumel Island. From there, the long-term forecast track would carry to the U.S. Gulf Coast, perhaps into Texas, or into Louisiana by Tuesday or Wednesday. This could possibly travel to the U.S. Gulf Coast as a hurricane as well. It is likely to soak flood-prone eastern Honduras, the Cayman Islands, and parts of the Yucatan Peninsula as this tropical storm travels to the U.S. Gulf Coast. On Friday, this tropical storm was centered about 160 miles east of the Honduran resort island of Roatan with 35 miles per hour winds. The tropical depression was headed west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. Be noted that the two tropical storms, Laura and Marco, have advanced across the Caribbean and are now potentially historic threats to the U.S. Gulf Coast. One storm has dumped rain on Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, while the other storm has been pushing through the gap between Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba. Tropical storms Laura and Marco were both projected to approach the U.S. Gulf Coast at or close to hurricane force. The current uncertain track would make them lead towards Texas or Louisiana. These two hurricanes have never appeared in the Gulf of Mexico at the same time, according to the records that go back as far as the year 1900. The last time two tropical storms were in the Gulf together was in 1959. The last time two storms made landfall in the U.S. within 24 hours of each other was in 1933. Projected track from the National Hurricane Center places both storms together in the Gulf on Tuesday, with Marco hitting Texas and Laura making landfall a little less than a day later, though both tracks remain uncertain. Laura has dumped rain across Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands on the 22nd of August and is expected to drench the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and parts of Cuba during the day on its westward journey. Puerto Rico has been declared its governor Wanda Vasquez as a state of emergency, and they have put out a flooding warning that could worsen than what Tropical Storm Isaias unleashed 3 weeks ago because the ground is currently saturated with water. No one should be out on the streets, stated Governor Wanda Vasquez. The storm was centered about 20 miles or 30 kilometers south of San Juan, with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour or 65 kilometers per hour. It was moving west at 18 miles per hour or 65 kilometers per hour. Officials have stated that they were most concerned about the thousands of people who still have been living under blue tarps since the 2017's Hurricane Maria, and the hundreds of families living along Puerto Rico's southern coast in homes that were damaged by a string of strong earthquakes earlier this year. Marco was strengthening while centered about 105 miles or 170 kilometers east of Cozumel Island and is headed to the north-northwest at 12 miles per hour or 19 kilometers per hour. This storm, Marco, had maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour. Tropical Storm Marco is scheduled to become a hurricane as the day progresses. According to the Hurricane Center, it is expected that the storms will stay far enough apart to prevent direct interaction, as the region braces for the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. And for this year 2020, the Atlantic hurricane season is forecast to be unusually active, with many storms being named. Both storms were expected to bring 3 to 6 inches or approximately 8 to 15 centimeters of rain to areas as they were passing over or nearby, threatening widespread flooding across a vast region. A lot of people are going to be impacted by rainfall and storm surges in the Gulf of Mexico. Since you simply do not know, you really need to take precautions and plan. Seems only fitting for such an unusual twin threat of tropical storms, which will become hurricanes, to arrive in 2020, as this year seems to be a record-breaking year, not just for hurricanes, but for other disasters as well. We noted that we have to have 2 simultaneously landfalling hurricanes. It's best not to ask what's next. Forecasters have said that while atmospheric conditions are favorable for Laura to grow, its passage over Puerto Rico and the mountains of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba could tear it apart or weaken this tropical storm, or it enters warm Gulf waters that are conducive to its growth. Officials have stated that Laura might pass over the Florida Keys on its way into the Gulf, and so they have declared a local state of emergency and have issued a mandatory evacuation order for anyone living on boats, in mobile homes, and in campers. Tourists staying in hotels should be aware of hazardous weather conditions and consider altering their plans starting on Sunday. Citing both storm systems, the governor of Louisiana has declared a state of emergency as well. He has stated that it is too soon to know exactly where, when, or how these dual storm systems will affect Louisiana. But now is the time for people to prepare for these storms. Laura had earlier forced the closure of schools and government offices in the Eastern Caribbean islands of Anguilla and Antigua. Comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this double threat to the U.S. Gulf Coast. It seems this Atlantic hurricane season is at its peak and it's more active than ever, sending double hurricanes that would have started out as tropical depressions. Currently, they are at the state of being tropical storms. But forecasters have said that they will head to the U.S. Gulf Coast as hurricanes and with strong force winds. Stay prepared, stay safe, subscribe, and share. Thanks.